Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Godfred, and I'll be your instructor for this evening's class. After we are done, the video will be uploaded on YouTube, and then the link will be shared. So once it's shared, you can always watch it again and like and subscribe and follow the page. We'll be doing some free Excel webinars every month. So whenever we share the link, you can always join. Thank you so much. Let's begin. Okay, so we're going to look at certain Excel features that knowing them can help you to be more efficient in the use of Excel. So we're just going to look at about 9 of them for this Excel webinar. Yes, so the first one is the flash fill. So this webinar is practical based. So while we are actually looking at a particular feature, then we'll be actually practicing it alongside. Okay. So I will share the Excel datasets in the chat so that we can have access to it. Okay, so I've just shared the Excel dataset I'll be using for this class. Okay, so let's get right to it. So if you have any question, you can always alert me and then I'll answer. Okay. Okay, so you're looking at the first what item you're looking at is a flash fill. And then the next one is the fill series. So we'll do the two together. So one of the Excel features, first of all, we need to expand this. So we'll enable editing, select the whole thing. We go to format, and then we'll click on auto fit column width. Okay. So flash fill. Is this one of the Excel tools that it, first of all, it tries to detect a pattern in your data, and then it tries to, once it detects the pattern, then it tries to emulate it so that we can get the results that we want. So we want to achieve something, and we want a faster way of doing it. So once Excel is able to detect what you are trying to do, once you use the flash fill, realize that it completes it for you automatically. So for example, let's say we have, let's create a column here. Right click and click on insert. Let's say we want first name out of this. For example, we just want the first names out of this. So once we start typing Linda and Kwame, we realize that Excel has an idea of what we want to do. So I can either press the Control E, which is the one here, or so what I just did was to actually press the Control E and to fill it for me, or I can just go here, select everything and go here and then double click it. And then, no, Control Z. Yeah, double click and then move here and say, okay, I want flash fill. Okay. So what happened is that Excel noticed that there was something I wanted to do. And once Excel is able to detect the pattern, what you're trying to do, it's able to help you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. So the first thing is, so this can only happen if Excel is able to detect what you want to do. So let's say, let's try another one. So I was trying to type the first names from the email and realized that Excel detected that I want the first names of the emails. So automatically Excel completed it for me. So what if I want the surnames from itself? So Martin, Mensa. So you realize that for this one, nothing showed because Excel realized that this side is blank. So the flash fill is very key when Excel is able to detect what you are doing, basically from it will look at what the data you have on it already. And once it sees that you are trying to do something, it will eventually help you. But with the other one, which is the fill series, that one, Excel is not just detecting a pattern, but it's trying to automatically generate a certain sequence. So Excel has an idea, it's trying to figure out what you are trying to do. So if I was typing maybe some numbers, so numbers 3, 5, 7, 9. And so the field series, normally you have to select everything. So I thought I can be able to understand what you are trying to do. Once you double click it, Excel understood that, okay, it's possible the series I want to do is difference of 2. So whether it's 2 from 3 to 5, from 5 to 7, it's just a difference of 2 between them. So that's the difference between the field series and the flash fill. But normally, once you double click here, like this small box here, what happens is that this menu comes here where you can tell Excel what you are trying to do. So if it's a flash fill, which, and you click on it, Excel will tell you that it doesn't see the pattern. So for the flash fill, Excel needs to have a pattern before it can help you. But if it's the fill series, it will try to understand what you're trying to do and then try to generate a certain sequence. So if once it does that for you, you will determine whether that is what you wanted to do or not. But let's say you didn't want to generate anything. Once you click on the menu here, you just click on copy cells. And what it does is that it just repeats the pattern for you. Let's say I don't want to any series, I don't want to do flash fill. I want to just keep on repeating that this sequence or this order. So once you double click here and you click on copy, all it does is that it will just repeat the same thing for you. So realize this is 3, 5, 7, 9, then it starts again 3, 5, 7, and 9. Okay, so that is, but this one is just it's not fit, it's not actually pasting the pattern, just the formatting that you've done on it, that's all. So if so for field series two, also that's it for we want to do the date. So once you do maybe January, February, Excel has an idea, okay, you want to actually continue with the days of the month. So you know the days of the month ends with December. So once you extend it, it will just repeat it all over again. For you, if you are dealing with months, or if you are dealing with exact dates too, that's that for you. So 27th, maybe June 2026. Once you extend it down, Excel knows that, okay, maybe you want to actually continue the dates. And Excel actually understands how the days work. So you're like that when it goes to 30th June, it started from 1st July and goes. Once you get to 31st July, to then begin from August, as you can see. Okay, so that's if I want to do the dates. So for dates, Excel understands that, okay, that's the series I want to do. So dates or days of the week. So let's try Monday, Tuesday. Once I do this, I can just continue for the rest. And then it ends it for me nicely. So that's for the PO series. Okay, so another feature we're going to look here is paste special. You're not just pasting, but you're doing a paste special. So how do we go about it? So let's say this month of the week, we want it not horizontally, we don't want it vertically, we want it horizontally. So what we do is that we can copy and then we click on the shorts, the command is Control Alt V. So either you press Control Alt V at the same time, don't remove it one by one, it will appear, or you can just come to this place and then where it says paste, click on the arrow, down arrow, and then you click on paste special. Okay, so if I want it horizontally, I just click on transpose, and it does that for me beautifully. So transpose just changes the order. So if it is horizontally, and I want it vertically to the same thing, Control Alt V, and I click on transpose, and then that is it. It does that for me simply. Okay, let's say let's say we want to, okay, let's work with this, okay. Let me create a different sheet here. Let's say we want to do a certain space special. Okay, so first of all, we'll create a duplicate of this nicely here. And let's say we want to find 10% of these values. One way to do that simply is using the paste special. Okay, there are a number of ways to do that, but one of the ways you want to look at is the paste special. So if I want to multiply this by 10%, what I'll do is that I just put my 10% here nicely. Then I'll select this. No, first of all, I'll copy this, Control C. Okay, then I'll select this. So I copy the where I've typed the 0.1, then I'll select this. This is where I want to paste it. But I want, before it paste, it should multiply by 10% before pasting. So this is not a formula. Okay, so when you do this, you go to your paste special, then you go to multiply. And that's for us neatly. So I want to multiply everything. Maybe not even everything, maybe just the first cell. So the same thing, I copy this, press the paste special, go to multiply, and then okay. And that's it for me. For just the selected one, I just selected the C2 and did it for me nicely. So we want to do some multiplication, but we don't want to use a formula. We wanted to actually paste it for us, the value, not even the formula. So that's how to go about it. But let's say I want to subtract this by maybe 550. So I copy again, select it, and then I move to my paste special and I click on subtract. Okay, and it does it for me nicely. So it is Excel subtracted for me and paste the values there. Anyone have a question? Okay, so that's for the subtract. But let's say I want to add 650 to it. So I come here, I select what I want to subtract, copy it, okay, and then I select this, or I can select as many as I want to select, and then go to paste special, and then click on add, and then okay, and that's it for me nicely. So the thing is that Excel will do the calculation and paste the values. So if you want to keep the original one, then you have to get a duplicate, like how I created a duplicate here. Otherwise, if you don't want to duplicate, if you wanted to affect the original one, you don't have to create a duplicate. You can just do it on it automatically. Because this one will not create a duplicate. It will actually display the result in the original cell that you selected initially. And then the same thing if I want to do a divide, it asks if I want to do the same thing. And it did the division nicely for me. Okay, another one I want to look at is when you're pasting by. So let's say, for example, let's delete this now. Oh, clear content. Okay. So let's say, okay, put in the figure here. So let's say I have this data here. Okay. And I want to update some of the values. So laptop is no more 12,000, maybe it is 55,000. Okay. Monitor, I don't have the updated value, so it's blank. Printer is now like 9,500. And keyboard is also blank. Mouse is 3,000. And then office chair is 4,200. But I want to paste this here. If I do a normal Control C and then I paste it here, realize that The ones that didn't have, that had values initially, but didn't have values here, will get deleted. But I don't want that. I want to retain what is here, because what is here is correct. But yet that some of the values here have been updated. So the values that are blank has not been updated. So how do I paste just the values here there without affecting the ones that have blanks? So that's when we use the escape blanks. So when you copy it nicely, you can copy like this. Okay, then you come to the gen there, then you do Control V, click on Control V, and then you actually take the escape blanks. So what you to do is that the ones that are blanks, it will not affect those ones. Then click on tap, press OK, where that it actually updated our sheet for us, but the blanks was not affected. Okay. So we move to the next feature for this evening. Okay. Amen. Does anyone have any question? Okay. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to look at is the go to special. Okay. So this is also another feature here in Excel where you are not just using so you find that here, you click on the side, define and select here, and you click on go to special. So it's like you are finding something Excel, but you are finding specific things. So if we have any blanks in our sheet here, and we want to locate where the blanks are, just click on this, go to special, the blanks, and then OK. And it will actually select all the blanks that we have in our sheet for us. Let's say we have formulas in the sheet. We have some formulas here that we want to find. So let's say, for example, let's say we multiply this unit price by quantity here, and then we extend it nicely. So this is a formula. So if we have a sheet and we want to locate where the formulas are, you just click on this, go to special, and then you click on formulas, and then OK, and then it locates them. So we realize that this one is where there are formulas in the sheet. Also, for the constant is if you have incoming. Constant are just values that are not formless. Let's realize that every other thing is selected apart from the P, because those are the constants. Constants in Excel are those things that we manually inputted. They are not formless. So everything you see here are formless, are not formless. That's why they are selected. But the formula we just created was not selected because it's a formula. Okay. And then we move to, for the object is if you have a shape or maybe a picture also in your document. So if you want to locate any shapes in your Excel, just click on object and then it does that for you. Okay. Or if you want to know the last cell in your Excel, just click on last cell and then it does it for you. So the last cell in this worksheet is this particular one. Okay. And then, okay. So for this one, if you choose this one, the column differences, what it does is that it just helps you to find out if there are any differences in your column, as in the items in your column or the row. So the row difference and the column differences, it just checks the row and column to see if you have any different items there, as in characters or items or words. So if, for example, I have 5, 5, 5, and let's say in this column, I want everything to be the same. Nothing must change. There should not be a different number, just one unique number. Once I click on it, let's click on maybe column differences. It just makes us know that, okay, there are no differences there, basically. You see, no cells were found. But when there are differences, you realize that Excel will let you know that there are differences in the sheet. It will actually, so when you select this and you go to column differences and you search it, once it reduces in size, it means that there are differences in it. So you can just keep on searching until you actually find the difference. So the difference is just this two, basically. But this one, when we checked it, we realized that it said there were no differences in it. Okay. So that is for the for the auto special. And then the current region, what it does is to just select your whole data set, that block of data set for you, as we can see when I click on the current region. Okay. So that is with the go to special. So the next thing we're going to look at is the data validation. Data validation. Okay, so this is one of the features here in Excel. When you want to put certain restrictions into a cell to control what you want people to enter there. So there are times when you don't want people to be putting anything outside a certain information. We have a column that is age. You don't want people to be typing characters like alphabet there. You want them to only type numbers. So what we do is that here in our data validation, we have to actually set it that in this column, you cannot put letters here or alphabet here or words, but just numbers. So for example, let's say we have this data set where we have maybe names, and then uh, age. Okay. And we have Mark here, Mark. We have Mark. We have Maxwell. We have Anthony. Okay. So these are names here. And then we want to put a validation in this cell. Okay. So we select them. You can select the whole thing if you want the whole place, or just this portion. Then we come to data and go to data validation here. And then you click on it. Okay. And I click on it, or you just click on the arrow here and then click on the first one. Okay. So in the default settings in Excel, every cell automatically is set to any value. That is what you can see here. Means that you can allow any value. But if you want to restrict it to what you want people to key in there, then we use the data validation. So we have to change here to whole number, because we don't want decimal dates, ages. Whole number, and then you can actually put a certain restriction again, where you don't want a certain age. So let's say maybe we don't want a minimum of maybe 15, and then maybe a maximum of maybe 60. So we can actually choose here between, not between, equal to, and the rest here. So between, and say okay. So when we come here, we type 10 to tell us this value does not match the data validation restriction. So it will not work. If you click on retry, it will still not work. Okay. Unless you cancel it and then, or just retry and change the values. But if you check right, I think 15, right? Yeah, it will work. So that is all. So we can't type alphabet here because we have actually restricted what can be here. Not only have we restricted that only numbers can appear here, but we are also saying that only a certain people between a certain age range. So if a person is 65, the person cannot be here. Okay. And even if it's a decimal two, it will not work because we've chosen whole numbers. So 18, maybe 25, 35. So let's say we have salary here. Salary. And then for the salary, we choose, come in, all this, we choose decimal, because salaries can be in the decimal. But I mean, this one, there's no need to use this. So, okay. Okay, I'll put something there. So we have to put something there. So it'll be greater than 0 or something, because everybody has to get paid so far as it's put on our sheet. Okay, so the salary can be maybe 6,740.57 pesos. Dealing with 4,590.45 pesos. So that is it for the decimal one. If I put in whole numbers to work, because it's decimal accepts both whole numbers and then those that have decimal numbers too. Yes, so that is it for the decimals. Let's say we are dealing with now country. And here we are saying, okay, we are going to actually restrict this. So we choose this. We can actually just select one and then copy and paste it. So we come here, click on data validation, and then we move here and we say, okay, we want a list this time around. And then okay, you're dealing with either Ghana, Nigeria, maybe Senegal, for example. So we just say, okay. So what happens is that you cannot put anything outside this. You can't even type GH unless it is Ghana. Are you seeing it? So I can copy this and paste for the rest here. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so that's it for the next one. But let's say, for example, for example, we have, so let's say, for example, we have a list of countries here. For example, a list of countries here. Okay. Here too, we can actually create our list from here. So once we go to data validation here, we go click on this. Then instead of typing it here, in case maybe the list is a lot, you can actually click on this side and then select them. So you select the range for us, you can click on OK. The range is here, click on OK here, and then everything is updated here. Okay. But the only thing is that, so whatever you put here, you must not change it. You must not delete anything because it will affect here because it's linking. If I come and I delete Nigeria here, realize that it's going to affect this. It's going to be an empty blank here because it's linking, it's being linked to this table here. So actually, yeah, this. So I mean, once you do this, you have to make sure that the person, whoever it is, will not be able to tamper with it, so that it doesn't get affected. Okay. Okay. So that's for this. But let's say we want to, so let's continue here. Okay. So another thing you can do on the data validation side also is that is the once you have done the validation, you can actually give it the error message that should appear. So once you do this, what you do is that you move to the data validation here, click on it, and then we can input the error message that should appear and actually show whether it should be this should appear or not. Okay, we can change it here and then say, okay, information, information. Oh, let's say one another one. Uh, invalid, invalid input or something. Give it a title and say, okay, let's do it for this one, man. So this one is for 15 to 60, okay. So we do invalid input. Okay, and the error message is you have entered a figure beyond 60, but or below 15, and then okay. So whenever we actually put change the figure here, this is what we see now, the customized message that we set. And also, once you can also come here and then click on this, and then you click on input message, where you can see this is information. Enter numbers between 15 and 60. So after you do that, whenever you click on the cell, it gives you the information that, okay, this is the validation data restriction here. So if the number you are going to type is less than 50, know that you're going to receive an error message. And if it's beyond 62, you're going to receive an error message there. Okay. And then another thing you can also do is, apart from everything, is also to choose, maybe if you want date over there, date. Maybe this should be a date column, and you can also specify the exact dates that you want. Okay, so I want maybe 01/01/2026. I want dates that is between January and then June of this date, 27 June. You realize that if I type 2nd March 2026, it appears. But if I type 27 here, it's not that no, it doesn't correspond to the restrictions on it. Okay. And that's if you want just dates there, you have to specify the duration that you're looking at. Do you want to ask a question? Or you can also determine the specific length, if that's what you want. Okay, length. Okay. Of characters, maybe between 3 and 10 or something. Okay. Let me choose something. 3 and 5. Okay. So what happens is that coming. Yes. Okay. Okay, so that's it for the data validation, where we can input message, customize our own message, and we can also customize our own error alert, and then the number of validations you can use here. So if at any point you want to move any validation, you can just go back, select it, and go back and select or any value, and then okay. And then it goes back to how it was originally. Okay. So let's move on to the next one. And the next one is removing duplicate in a sheet. So this, when you want to remove duplicates in a sheet, is one of the things we can use. So duplicate is basically, you select the column that you want to move the duplicate, then you click remove duplicate. And then the best thing is to expand it. So you expand it, and then you move. Okay. So what happened is that if you don't expand it, this is what happens. Okay, let's go to the end of the sheet. So end of the sheet, realize that, okay, they're all ending on the same line. That's beautiful. So I select this and I click on remove duplicate here. And I said continue with current selection. What happens is that it will only remove duplicates on that column. Okay, so I found about 740. What this means is we have about 290 customers and they keep on buying our stuff. Okay, realize that the duplicate here is deleted, but it didn't affect every other thing. Okay, and this one may not make sense out of it. Okay, but once you extend it for everything, you click on remove. So you continue, you expand it. What happens is that it checks and see if there's any duplicate. Okay, so that's removed everything already. Check see if there's any duplicate, like from this line when you have order ID here to like email here. So if this, for example, this, let's say I duplicate it and I paste it here. So this is a duplicate because this same line with the same information on every column is appearing on another line, the same format. The order ID is the same here as this, order date is the same as this, customer name same as that, Western region is the same here. So everything is the same. Then it will end up deleting everything for us. Okay, so that's about the removing duplicate. And then the seventh item, which we'll put is about the last one, but we'll add it is this. Okay, see, okay, this last but two. So we're going to combine the spark lines to the seventh one, the quick analysis tool. Okay, so there are times when maybe you want to do some quick analysis. Okay, so once you, and that's when we use this quick analysis. Realize that if I select, okay, let's say if I select this side, if I select the entire column, you realize that this little icon appears here. And this icon is called a quick analysis tool, the icon for it. Okay, we can just do Control Q. Okay. So once I click on it, it gives us a number of options. Whether you want data bars or data bars. Okay. So once you select your data set and you click on the data bar, what data bar does is that, yeah, what it does is that it's going to compare the data in this whole data set. Okay, it will compare it and then find out the value that is the highest. And that value now becomes the 100%. So every value is now is now a fraction of that one. So in this case, the 100% now is in December, and then you realize that's the highest value. So every other bar is telling us that it's just a fraction of this whole thing. Okay, so I mean, in this case, for it to make much more sense, better to do it row by row, basically, and then, okay, and then is that. Okay, so what so that's what it does. for the data bar. The next thing over here is the colors here. And the colors here is, it's just that it colors the numbers based on the analysis that Excel has done. So it depends on how you have actually selected it. Okay. In this case, because I selected everything, what Excel did was that it's telling me that the numbers that are the lowest numbers are more red. And then while the other numbers, other sheets of numbers, is just the varying degree between how close it is to the lowest number and how close it is to the highest number. Okay, so in that case, realize that when I select everything, I click on the colors. The top here is what's the highest? It's very green. Okay, but if you realize that each column is talking about a whole different product and you want to segregate them, then you have to select them individually when you select this and you do this. And it gives you the, okay, it means that in December, we're doing better than we're doing in January. But you can see that the money has increased a bit. So that's it about the one here. So, but there are various things here that we can play with and we can explore in the quick analysis toolbar here, where we have the icons here, also the same thing, but it does the same thing by giving us icons to show whether we are doing well or not. So if you see it as green that is moving up, means that we are actually at the highest numbers. Low means that those are the low numbers. And then the one that is horizontal means that that's the average. That number is doing around the average of that entire data set. So yeah, it's because you've selected everything, that is why it's showing like that. But if we actually select it differently, realize that the result will be different here. Okay. So we also have the next one is the where you want to highlight maybe numbers that are greater than another numbers. So I want maybe something greater than 10,000. And it will highlight numbers that are greater than 10,000. So that's what it does here for us. And then the top 10, when you click on it to come in, go back. Okay. So once you select everything to go to the top 10, top 10 just looks for the highest top 10 values. So if I want it here like this, maybe like this, the top 10 just gives me the highest 10 values. Okay. And then here too gives us if you want to clear everything. So that is for the formatting one. But if you want to do the chart, so sometimes we can just cell data, click on the chart, and then it helps us with quick charts. So this allows us to create quick, very quick charts where we select what we want to do, and then we just click on the chart, and that does that for us nicely. Okay, so that is depending on what you wanted to do and what you selected. So if I want a cluster one, that's the formula like this. Okay, so that's for the chart one, or any kind of chart you want to do. And then the two tiles. When I click on the total here, total sum, Excel actually calculates it for me. So Excel will calculate it for me nicely. If I want the average to, that's it for me. And if I want to do it for all of them too, at a go, I select all of them, click on the sum, and then it appears at a go. Okay. You want to do a quick summation there, a quick count. There are 6 items there. And then it's the auto sum here, where it actually calculates both vertically and then horizontally for us. So these are just quick ways you can do it. Instead of actually summing them one by one, you set all of them at the same time and then click on the the totals and then you get it. Oh, this auto sum, that's both left and right. Horizontally and vertically for us, column wise. And then this one just does it for us vertically. And then this is if you want to turn it into a table, click on it, and then that's it for us nicely. Okay. And then we move to something called the spark lines. Is it sparkle lines or something? Yeah, spark lines. Okay. So there are times when you want to actually have uh, a small chart in your cell. That's when we use the sparkle lines. Spark lines. So for example, in this case, what we'll do is that you select this and you click on this. Then click on spark lines. And you click on line. So this gives us briefly a chart of what is happening here. This means that from here to here, we are actually increasing. If, for example, this became 10K, and then this was maybe 5,000, realize that it will affect this one. Can you see? So this is when you want a chart of the trend of a certain group of data, but you want it in a cell, not as a chart itself. Then we use the spark lines. So you can have the line one, or you can also have where you can come here and change the column. Column two is just basically the same as the line, but it's just how it looks like. It changes. Okay, so this is just a trend. So you realize that if I choose the column, what it means is that in August, there was a dip, and that's what we can see here with that gap over there. And then you realize that here too, printer was 8,000 here, but here it is now 5,900. So you realize that it has actually dipped. So you see the trend in either if you want the histogram or you want it as a line, it will still give you that design. For the win and loss, what it does is that it looks at the data and see if once the data is 0, it will record as just a line. So I do 0, type 0 here, so that it will become a line. But if it's negative, once it gets to negative, the value it actually comes another shape dips down there like that, and it's here. So what we'll do is that we are going to copy just 3 of them, 4. But because it's a lot, we are not able to see it clearly here. So okay, but instead of coming to, so instead of selecting this, where you can get a spark lines, you can also come to, insert, and then you see spark lines, you can click on the line here, and then it will tell you the data range. So data range is going to be the data you selected already, or you can reselect it. And the location is where you want it to appear. So I want to appear here. And now from here on, okay. Come in. Okay, so this place. Come in. Oh, what's this? Okay, that's one. So I have to select, you select the same range. So we'll go to insert, click on line, that's the spark lines there. And then you select from here to here, and then okay. So what happens is that this is giving us the trend here. I think this is more visible. This one is, because it's a lot. Actually, let's do this. You realize that once I increase my magnifier a bit like this, you realize that once I come here and I choose the column one, you actually see different bar charts. And you can also see it here. But because there's a lot, that's why you didn't see it clearly. So when it is low, then it appears like a small line there. But notice for the column one. The column one there, it actually show the first one is for January, second one is for February, third one is for March, fourth one April. Here too is the same way. It was counting. It has about 12. All this about 12 here. So 12 are here. That's why. So here is more visible 4. So what this means is that the highest in this region is April. Is the highest here. March is second highest, so that's what is here. And then January is the third highest, that's what is here. And then February is the lowest, that's what is here too. Okay. And then for the line charts and then the column, it's more giving us the trend of the data. So when it dips, it dips. When it increases, rises, it rises. And then for the win and loss, it's going to actually, you see it looks like it's the same size, right? But you only see a difference when it's 0 or it's negative. So you can use the win and loss if you want to determine if maybe you're making a huge loss or something, Because once you use that one and you see this one doesn't mean that the value is low. It means you're actually doing negative. And then you can just cross-check and examine and see what's wrong. So that is for this. Okay, so that's for the spark lines we already looked at. So the last one I'm going to look at is the test to columns. We've already looked at the spark lines. So the last one for this class is test to columns. And this is used when we want to separate. So for example, let's say if we want to separate items in one cell, okay. Let's go to another sheet. So let's say we want to, okay, let's say we want to separate first name from the surname. So we select this, then we move to data, then move to test the columns. So it will separate items in your data set depending on the move to the delimited nest, depend on certain unique character. So the character I'm going to use, you can either use tab, semicolon, comma, and space in the rest. But realize that to look at the cell, rather ask yourself, what is the unique character that is separating the two things I want to actually separate? So here it is spaces. So I choose space, and nest, and then this. I'm going to do that for us nicely here. But let's say let's do this. Control this. Okay, let's say we have this where most of what separates them is not a space, it's rather a comma. So once you select it like this, the next thing you do is to go to data, then you move to text to columns, and the next, and then you actually check comma. You realize that when you check it, you realize that there's a line that is separated, because that is the only thing here that will separate it. And you click on next, and you say finish. So that is it. Okay, so that is it for this evening's class. As if you have any question, please ask. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions? Okay, so if we don't have any question, let me